Woke up late, charts on fire, red and green like a funeral pyre. Discord screaming LFG, but my portfolio's haunting me. Spiked my coffee with regret. Last night I longed to break out bet. Now I'm broke, not broken yet. Just one more pump I won't forget. Buy high, die huddling. The 10 brain dopamine's controlling. Ride the whale or get wrecked clean. This crypto dream's a guillotine. Fake guru with 1,000 subs showed me coins in shady clubs. Promised moons, Lambos and jets. Now I'm left with JPEGs and debts. Stuffed my soul in a 5-minute chart. Market dumped and it ripped my heart. But I'll reload, I'll play to win. Even if I lose it all again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. Almost gone, greed's the king. This crypto dream's a punk rock thing. Time in hands with the crack in the glass. Risk it all, no brakes, full gas. Liquidation, call me sweet. Whisper welcome to defeat. No stop loss, no regrets. Code and chaos, no safety nets. Satoshi's ghost in my DMs told me to ape again and again. Buy high, die huddling. Gas fees burn, but I keep rolling. If I crash, at least I tried. In this wild west of blockchain rise. I'll be trading till the lights go out. Charts are noise, but I live for the sound. One candle spike, and I'm back in town. Crypto's a fight, and I'm 10 toes down.
What's up, guys? Good morning. Coma, how you doing? Always the first to comment. Sterling, how you doing, Sterling? I hope you're feeling better. I am feeling better. My cough still sucks, but I'm able to talk now. It's like yesterday, I was like whispering, trying not to cough. Brett, how you doing? Crypto King, what's up? I'm gonna need a pronunciation of your name again. Mensolda, right? Mensolda. Gear, how you doing? R Pink, Melissa, Wayne, what's up? How you guys doing? I'm getting excited for a potential move for Bitcoin because I feel like it could be a swing-bound trade and not just a regular scalp. But we'll see what happens. But we're getting really, really close to my level that I'm looking for, and I'll explain why. Like I want, what the amount of confluences that we have in this level, and why I think that this could be a good spot for our long. But it's a big make it or break it moment. Like if we don't hold this level, we could collapse to like around 102K. Bitcoin up, please. You're over leveraged on a shitcoin. Oh man, that sucks. Well, yeah, I'm hopeful that you see some relative strength with the asset that you're trading there, bud. But yeah, where we are, like there's not very much room to drop before I anticipate us to have a strong reversal. But again, if we lose this level, it's pretty critical. Like we could end up seeing a full rotation down to like a previous macro valley area low. But I think that this is going to be a more of a long, like look at the way the order flow, like we're stacking liquidity above us. Like even with this little local range, we just keep stacking more liquidity above us here, and we're coming into an area where there's a large amount of liquidity resting below us. So if we, deviate a little bit below this green box, it'd be fine in order to scoop up this liquidity, because like, all I got to do is adjust it to sync with that. If you zoom out, You see that this here is the previous macro range I'm talking about. And this is where we're resting right above, right? The price action, you see this green line, this is where the price action is currently at. And, so we have a strong volume shelf. We got liquidity here. We have uptrending daily macro momentum. We have the 200-day EMA catching up. Like, there's a lot of confluences here for a reversal. So this is where I'm anticipating the bounce to occur. All we're waiting on is like that structure, right? If we dip down below, grab the newly added liquidity from these SFPs, get that bullish change of character, and then we can ride this up while watching all the newly added barrier concerns along the way. The one big barrier concern along the way would be 110. 840. This could induce a range. So if we came up, hit our head here, and had an opposing change of character, that would pretty much tell us that this is not going to be a swing trade, and that this is going to be it'll just be a scalp trade. Because we have that opposing change of character, we should take a large amount off the table. Hopefully by then we have the stop loss at break even, and we'll see if it causes us to range here a little longer or not. Right. This kind of structure is really, really common to induce ranges. But I also want to tell you guys that Otto and I have been working on a really cool giveaway system. And we'll do some practicing today. But basically, you guys will, when you're watching these lives, we'll have a word of the day every Friday. If you say that word, then you get entered into the ticket system. And that ticket system will then put everyone through a raffle, and I'll be giving away like $600 or $6,000 funded accounts for you guys to trade with. I'll be giving away like one-on-one coaching calls, karma tokens, stuff like that. But at least 3 times a month, I'll be giving away a $6,000 funded account for you guys to trade with. And I'll teach you guys about the company that's providing that for us, and I'll teach you about the rules with those accounts, because you're not allowed to have a certain amount of drawdown, or else you can lose that account. But you get to keep like 90% of the profits for all the trades you do on it. And I think that'll be really helpful for anyone who's especially a little fish that's just getting started in this space. But yeah, be pretty cool. Free Breaker, what's up, man? Noah, welcome to the party. Ryan. Tooth Moon. I can't. Dasan. Right on. But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to giving you guys. Every single Friday during our lives, that'll be a giveaway. And I might even consider giving away like trading profits too. I've seen some YouTubers do it where they give away like their last trade's profits, which is kind of fun. So I might consider doing that too. I have like a $100,000 swing trade account and a $10,000 scalp account that I trade with. So I'll probably use the $10,000 scalping account and then give away the profits on that. Pluff, you want to look at Sui today? We can do that too. But yeah, we basically went through everything that we can go through with Bitcoin. We're waiting on the structure. If we have what I'm hoping for to occur, let's go with the 15-minute. Yeah, we just want to break this local low. We got acceptance into a previous valley area. Almost got it. We need that lower low still, but we SFP'd instead. So we're kind of ranging between the previous point of control and the previous valley area high. So the previous valley area is from here to here, where this valley area low is. I know when you have like previous valley area data commingling with each other like this, it can get kind of confusing. And that's why we always look left, just to validate why we have our lines and why we might feel they might still be important. If we feel like they're not still important, then we just remove them. But I still feel that this is an important valley area for us to monitor until it's overtaken by the current price action. But we have, this is the valley area low we're trying to get to right here. And the macro valley area high that we just spoke about over here is almost perfectly in line with that. So we're trying to aim for that merged confluence between those two valley areas, the liquidity, and the daily uptrending momentum. This momentum, for those of you who don't know where it came from, if we go to the daily and we zoom out, it came from the bottom of the entire bull market. So around 16,000 is where this line has started. And it's been the momentum ever since we started the bull run. We broke this falling wedge, macro falling wedge to the upside. All right, so it's a really, really, really important line. If you look throughout history and you find all these momentum lines, when they break, they usually spark the beginning of a bear market. So I'm really hopeful that this doesn't break, because the conditions are not met yet on chain. So I have severe doubts that even if this is broken, that this is going to be the top. I just might consider it a top, and still prepare for like a full-on continuation to higher highs. So I'm in doubt based on the on-chain analytics that the market is nowhere near overheated like we usually see it when we have these bull market runs. All the consolidation that has occurred has created just such a healthy reset for Bitcoin. We never had these ranges before throughout history, so the reset it has caused on chain is just incredible. So I still feel like we can get to like $200,000 this cycle. Just change my name to make your life easier. Manny Bach. Oh, Neth. I know who you are. Master. What's up, man? Mikey, how you doing? HRJ. Awesome trades lately, HRJ, man. You're crushing it. Oh, speaking of HRJ. So I've been speaking to Blowfin, and HRJ, I think you might really, really like this, because this syncs extremely well with your strategy. I've been talking to Blowfin about building a new order system on their platform so that you can set it up so that if you, let's say you limit order in around here, when your TP has been hit, you will soon be able to set it up so that the moment your first TP is hit, you can have your stop loss automatically adjusted to anywhere you'd like, in the profit zone, your break even, whatever it is. And then every single time you create a new TP, after that, you'll be able to have it auto adjust your stop loss, let's say to your TP1, like you do with your strategy. So think of it as like a more passive approach to like limit order trading and swing trading when you're catching those lows. Or if you're just going to bed, right? And you're doing your scalping. Let's say you're jumping on this double bottom, and let's say the timing works out like we see here. We get a double bottom here in like 5 a.m. When you're saying you want to, like, let's say go to sleep, you can just basically set it up so that, okay, I'm going to set my TP here, and then I'm going to set up so it automatically, once my TP is hit, I'm going to have my stop loss like go here or something like that. So it'd be a really good way for people to relax and make profits while they're sleeping, and have their stop losses adjust while they sleep too. So that will be coming out hopefully very soon. It explained everything that we're kind of looking for, examples that other exchanges have been doing, and be a more passive approach to how you trade there, man. Well, is there a giveaway today? There won't be a giveaway today because we were trying to do our testing just before this live, an unlisted live, and there's just like literally one more thing that we have to get done before we're able to do it. But the following Friday and every Friday after that, it will be, we'll be able to do giveaways and stuff like that. But we can do a practice run. So like basically I'll either type it up here, let's say it's ATH, or we'll just say, you can say trading or invest a share or profits, whatever our word will be. And then you guys all have to type that word. I'll have Sterling also write the word so you guys can copy and paste it, so there's no like spelling mistake errors. Because if you do a spelling mistake, then you won't be put into the raffle. So anyone who's like watching us at the time will be put into a raffle. That this is how it's going to work. So anyone who's a YouTube viewer and you're subscribed, My brain's not working today. You'd get one ballot entry, right? So it's your odds are going to be really good because like I don't have very many viewers, right? We have like maybe 50. My maximum I've ever gotten in a live is about 200 concurrent viewers. So your odds are going to be pretty good. And there's going to be a giveaway. Even if you're not watching and you're a member, you're going to be put into this ballot. So if you're a standard member, you get 3 ballot entries. If you're an elite member, you'll get 6. You cannot win twice. We'll have our system recognize that you've won in the past, so we'll make things fair, and we can't have double winners, right? So yeah, YouTube viewers who comment will get the ballot entry. Standard members will get a ballot entry, and elite members will get a ballot, like 6 ballot entries too. It's pretty cool. King, man, you gotta stop giving me all your money. I know you're doing well, but I extremely appreciate it. Surprised there is a giveaway today. Good souls givers gain. It won't be today. It'll be next Friday and every Friday going forward. But I really, 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 really appreciate the tip, man. That's wild. And congrats on joining the community too. And seeing you're liking it. I'm not sure if you've taken the course yet. I'll take a look at your account. But yeah, I'd recommend taking the course, and you'll crush it. I promise. Coma sniped the chalk failure. SFP on the 15th. I could see that. Yeah. What time was that? 7:15 a.m. Yeah, I got up like 30 minutes after this happened. So we got the Doji and the engulfing response. Nice. Right after the SFP. It's beautiful. And yeah, this SFP, you would have targeted this local high here. We had a 15-minute order block there. So that's a great trade, man. Congratulations. You'd still watch the VWAP, but the VWAP is young, right? It's getting a little more mature, but yeah. Congrats, man. That's awesome. SFPs have become like one of my favorite trade setups. We had a discussion in the Discord community. Not that SFP, bro. That's okay. That's a good one either way. There's this one here for the short. We swept this high. That one was pretty good. Stacked liquidity here. Sweep of this liquidity here. And come down on the Doji. Kind of upside down version, actually, because you had the Doji engulfing response, and then you had the Doji and another engulfing response, except, yeah, we have an unmitigated 15-minute order block here. Okay, cool. King in the house. Cameron. Yeah, Cameron's here. Congratulations on your little one, Cameron. She's really fucking cute. Super cute. Okay, let's dive into your requests here, guys. So yeah, game plan for Bitcoin is basically either A, we come down here. This is what I prefer right here. Or B, what depending on what kind of structure we get, if we break above here, have it act as support, get that breakage structure, telling us that we'll be leaving this valley area and the active valley area here. We can get that rotation up, but I think it might be short-lived, so I'll be a little nervous jumping in on a trade like this. So I would prefer, like if this is going to occur, that we get maybe another SFP to front run it, and then we'll see if we get the continuation. If we're late to the party and we don't get the SFP scenario, then you can get in on the break of structure using the newly formed strong low as your stop loss, and then you would gauge to see whether or not it's worth it to trade into this barrier, because you'll be going right into that barrier. So if you'd want to look to see what that strong low will give you and the break of structure will give you. If the break of structure to like the primary barrier concern gives you at least a 1 to 2, then maybe you can take it, but it all depends on what kind of behavioral close we'll get. So I'm hopeful for the move down here or the SFP here, so we can front run that move and have a better chance of a stronger continuation. And once we get acceptance into this valley area back up here, again, that'll give us a target extension. And we'll be watching that 50-day EMA likely be in line with the previous value area high at 113K. But the barriers are pretty picture perfect along the way. So it should be easy for us to monitor our barrier concerns along the way up. We just look for those opposing change of character rules, decide if we have local barriers that can protect our capital as we rotate our stop losses all the way back up. But I'm optimistic that we'll hold if we do come down this low. And this is going to be the floor before we come soaring back up again. Dutchy, is this the real college? It is the real college, isn't more. There's a lot of fake ones out there, so be careful. But yeah, I'm the real one. You got a 1-to-9 risk to reward ratio, Coma. What the heck are you doing? Let me take a look at that. So we jumped in the 15-minute close. We got our short here. Stop loss at the wick. Anyone who's trading SFPs or learning about SFPs, your invalidation point is the top of wick itself. If you're afraid of a liquidity sweep before running down, then give it a tad bit more breathing room, but not too much, because your margin will be put to work for you. But I got like a 1-to-4, so unless you got in on the retracement, yeah, you must have got in on the retracement candle. So congrats on your patience. Patience pays. Sweet. Okay, let's go through everyone's list. Let's see. We got a request to look at Cardano. I know that Sui was the first request from Pluff, though, I believe. Okay, yeah, let's go through Sui, and then we'll look at Cardano for Noah. All right, Sui. I think it's been too long since we looked at Sui anyways, right? The 15th. Yeah, a little too long. I can see some stuff already. Okay, so we lost our 200-day EMA on Sui. Zoom out on the daily here. And we lost our uptrending momentum on Sui too. So we got some relative weakness on alts against Bitcoin. We got this really good. There's a daily value area. I'll pull that. So yeah, we've got this daily macro value area. I'm going to delete some of this noise so we can see it a little cleaner. Grab that. We ended up using this as resistance. We didn't hold it as support, so we can delete this. Was it the key level from a short, or is that from a long? Okay, it was previous long over here. Delete that too. Okay. All right, let's move this trend line. We'll use it over here instead. So we got this downtrending momentum. And what we look for when we have this momentum is what is it squeezing the price action into? We got this previous value high, but very small. Yeah, it's not great. So I'm not going to count on that holding us up. Let's look into this here. I'm going to turn on some indicators just to speed up the TA for you guys. Sec here. Where is that beautiful order block indicator from 11x here? The MTF OBIM. There we go. Yeah, I was looking for an order block over here. That's super low. That looks like an order block too. Okay. All right, let's zoom in. So based on Bitcoin's positioning against SUI, like we're getting that crunch, right? We're getting that price action suppression. We have supply zone right here that's basically been fully mitigated from this wick, but it's what helped induce this range. We didn't get the SFP down here like we did on Bitcoin, but we do have some opportunities here that we can watch for one. So we can mark our wicks, right? This one has not been swept, so we can add this one too. Clone right here. So there's a couple of scenarios here we can look out for. We can have, if we continue this ping pong price action between this like tight range, the only real way you can get in on tight ranges like this, like safely, is on the sweeps of the highs and the lows. You can't really bank on, like at least on a time frame like this, and like a change of character at the valley area low, right? You can draw your valley area data, but not every valley area is going to be helpful for you as like a range trader. So you can use the confluence of, the SFP at the valley area high, the SFP at the valley area low, and try to avoid any internal ones to increase your win rate. But that's all you really got right now for SUI is these local SFP setups. But we are like consolidating towards this momentum. We deviated away from a macro valley area. So we have more confidences telling us that we should be preparing for longs than we should be for shorts right now where we're standing. So I would be preparing for potential longs on SUI. And if you jump in on a long and you're looking to hold this longer term, you're going to have to bank on acceptance into the valley area and confluence with the fact that the valley area low is in line with that 200-day EMA. So if you get that bullish change of character, let's say down here, or if we consolidate and we break and we get that support bounce, then we just got to watch this as your potential TP1 along the way, because a lot of algorithmic bots and traders respond to the 200-day as a form of support or resistance. So just, you got to watch out. And then you have that confluence, of course, of supply being here too. Let's mark this as our price very low. That's SUI for you, man. I hope that helps you out. It's the same kind of positioning that I'm preparing for with Bitcoin for longs. I think the picture looks similar, except I think that we have more continuation confluences. Once you get that acceptance, we could see that potential full rotation to the valley area high. But of course, you got to watch the supply concerns along the way that could interrupt the trade's ability to continue up further. So TP1 zone here, TP2 here, but this could be their final TP with the 50-day EMA confluence and the previous point of control confluence and the uptrending momentum retest. But that's SUI. What else we got? The other request was for Otto's here doing tests already. Okay. Hey, if you guys want to participate in a test, everyone type !give. And then that might help us get the giveaway system ready faster for you guys. We'll look at Dogecoin too there for you. All right, let's look at Cardano first for Noah. So we'll go ADA. Last time we looked at this was September 22nd. We were hopeful for support in this high confluence zone here, and we're getting it right now as we speak. So last time we talked about Cardano, we wanted price action to come down here, and we're looking for this structure. Let's zoom out. Let's see if we got our momentum here. Let's just get this out of the way. Let's fix this trend line. The magnet tool sometimes is a pain in the butt. We got internal momentum, but the internal momentum is already broken. We're at the 200-day. Let me zoom out and see why I got this zone marked so you guys can see as well. Previous, area of, we had an order block there, but it's been mitigated. Yeah, demand zone, we came down, retested it, had a launch right off of it. We bounced here off this previous value area low. We're now below that value area low, but we are still in that high confluence zone for support. So acceptance into that previous value area could be good confluence for continuations. I'm going to mark this previous value area low here, because we had that previous value area high marked, so we can prepare for continuation structure there too. But yeah, we're pretty close to confirming actually a continuation on, or reversal actually on Cardano. We're stacking some buy side liquidity here. We can delete this. We can mark our local lows in case we come back down for an SFP. SFP would be a good scenario to prepare for a front run entry. If we come down here and sweep this low, we can then target either the internal high that's created or the local high here. And then hopes for the break above, have it that previous high at test as support, and then we get that break of structure continuation. But yeah, Cardano, man. Yeah, so Cardano and Sui and Bitcoin, they all look like picture perfect for preparing for a potential reversal. I do hope that we might get we come down a little bit lower. That could mess up the Cardano chart a little bit, but we don't get to pick what happens to the market, right? We just react. But if I were to pick between, trading Bitcoin or Cardano, based on the local barriers, I would probably choose Cardano in this scenario. Like jump in on it, riding Bitcoin's move up. Because there's just less barrier concerns to watch out for. So you can set your alarms between each one and you're set. So from here, this area here, you can mark it as an SFP zone, but honestly, if we get that full body candle close above it instead and validate that, then I'm going to be preparing for a pullback to retest and then that higher high. So I think no matter what, there's going to be a setup here. Either the SFP sweep to come back down or the close, the pullback, the higher high, and the continuation. Just got to watch the liquidity here. That could induce a reversal. Maybe we'll get some, like an ugly, inverse head and shoulders kind of posture. Let's see what happens. Okay, so that's Cardano. Went through Sui, Cardano, Bitcoin. All right, cool. Thanks for doing that test there, guys, for the give thing. Kyle, Crypto King just dropped you guys a live update pic in your Discord message. Okay. I don't want to put any pictures of your daughter up just in case. The world with AI and crap like that. You won't be adding to your Cardano position port. Well, I like to add to my spot positions during, like, I want to have a position of strength. So this would definitely be a moment where I would add to my spot position for Cardano, 100%. So if we get that confirmation of a reversal, I'm going to definitely be buying more Cardano spot. And it would just be with a small account that I started with, I'll be putting in 2x what I've already put in as a DCA. Because we're pretty close to my average already, but it will be lower. We're a little bit lower right now. I think my average is around like 81 cents. Let's take a look. I don't know why, but during the lives, this chart never works. Oh, it's working now. Okay. Okay, Cardano. invested $300 worth just with this small portfolio. Is that like 281? I gotta fix the log because I didn't log it here and I should have logged it. Sometimes I forget to log it after if it's a limit order entry. Kyle, some people did a capitalized G instead of a lowercase g. I wasn't sure if that mattered. It might matter, and that will help with the test. So I appreciate everyone doing that. Can we look at XRP? Yes. Okay. So we have a request to look at Dogecoin, Link, and XRP. So we'll look at Dogecoin first because that was the first request. May not be my favorite asset, but it does help control the narrative for meme coin traders. We are right now at a key area of interest for Dogecoin. We have the 200-day EMA. We have the previous point of control from this consolidative range that has been controlling the price action for Dogecoin for about 55 days before we returned back to it recently. We hit our head. We broke into the valley area, used the 50-day EMA as support, failed to get back above the valley area high with the break of structure. And then, fell right back down to the point of control. But yeah, we have quite a bit of confluences here to prepare for a reversal. So we're in one of our zones. Let's go to the hourly. Looks a lot like everything else. So it depends on which asset you'd rather trade, right? I still think that Cardano is cleaner than Dogecoin, but we can see that like with the order flow that there's likely a decent amount of liquidity through here that we can come up and take. So we can target what I would be targeting is basically the 50-day EMA in confluence with this supply concern here. So I would recommend boxing this zone so you can pay attention to it. Wick to wick. Send it back. I'd watch out for this 15-minute order block. It's also a good spot to prepare for liquidity that could be used as exit liquidity that could cause a reversal. Just watch it in hopes that we just melt right through it. But these are zones that you're basically looking at these zones and you're looking for specific reactions off of them. Like if you have an opposing change of character off of them, then listen to them. If they break right through them, then you don't need to listen to them. It's good to have pre-alarms near them though. Like have your horizontal lines like this right below them, and you set your alarms as we cross them, and that way you're not staring at the charts, babysitting your trades. I know people probably told you that trading is passive, but it's definitely not. You're basically on call. You think of yourself as like an on-call agent at a job, right? Whenever your alarms go off, that's when you come back to your charts, and that's when you work. But the more you get into swing trading, the more it'll feel passive, though. That's for sure. I would mark this zone originally, but we mitigated it here. But I will mark that wick, this local high here, in case we sweep and get an SFP off it. There could be a separate trade opportunity. But yeah, right now, based on the current structure, I guess we need a lower low still. A lot of this is internal. So because we haven't got that lower low, this is not our strong high. Around here is where we'll get our change of character. So, we kind of want to have that lower low, or else you're going to be trading an internal break. So I would prefer if you waited for a retest, if we broke above these local highs, and get that break of structure, enter in the break of structure, stop loss here, ride it up to the value high. Or even better, if we come back down, get that lower low, we'll evolve our strong high, and maybe we'll get an SFP opportunity off these lows. Lots of wicks down here that could be mitigated. So now that we're here, if I were to draw pathing for you, you want to see something like this, then enter, or a sweep down here, and then enter. And the sweep, for those of you who don't know what an SFP is, you want to have the candle come down below the wicks, but close above them. So if we're going to be SFPing this, for example, candle needs to come down, sweep that low, but close above this area, and then you have a valid SFP. If you want to have a high probability SFP, look at the candle body range within the time frame you're looking at, sweep, and then close. The close would need to be above the candle bodies, and that dramatically improves your win rate. It hurts your R&R a little bit, but it improves your win rate. All right, cool. So that's Dogecoin. I hope that helps you out. We have a request to look at Chainlink and... Okay, we looked at Dogecoin. Nice. Okay, Link and XRP. Lots of requests today. Some of these assets trying to lead the race. So same thing with Cardano. We have our area of interest here, this green zone. I'll zoom out on the 6 hour. It's not a very strong area. But yeah, we're bouncing off this previous value area high from this last consolidative leg down, this range here. This has helped us a lot in predicting, we predicted this range because of it, right? Using this value area low, right? And this value area high. Once we got acceptance into it, we knew that we're likely range here for a little bit. And now we're using it again. We're using it to help predict potential support. We're testing this previous high here, this previous value area high, and we're using it right now actively as support. We got a lot of noise on this chart. I'm sorry about that. There's downtrending momentum here. Let's zoom in on the 15-minute. You can delete this. Don't need it anymore. This is also all internal. Key levels way up here. A little annoying. Yeah, so we'll need a break above the highest wick point right here. And we might be getting an SFP as we speak on the 15-minute. 40 seconds left. So this could be a good lesson to anyone who doesn't know what an SFP is. We're about to find out. So we need to have this candle, how it closes is insanely important for this to be considered an SFP, right? As long as we close below this dotted line, and let me just make sure that this is magnetized to the top here. It is, okay. If it closes, and even better if it closes below this body to improve that win rate. If we have a doji, what I like to see is how the next candle performs. Because we might come up a little bit, or we might engulf past this area. If we engulf past this, then it's a good entry. So this just confirmed as an SFP. Some people would already be entering short right now and using this local high as your stop loss, and then targeting this low right here. If we close below here, then it'll engulf. Then you have a really good setup, but it does hurt your R&R. Or we can come back to this. But yeah, if anyone jumped in on that, we'll circle back to this and see what happens. But yeah, your first target should be around here. Your second target here. stop loss. The invalidation point is right above the wick. Okay, we'll leave this link open here. No pun intended. And we'll go back to Bitcoin. We might have the... But yeah, it's definitely positioned with an ascending double bottom. The only reason why I'm not jumping in right now is because of that. Doji's retesting these previous highs. Okay. Pepe, Sol, Render, Cubic, XRP. Let's pull up the charts I know I already have to save us some time on the TA, and then we'll go through the other ones. XRP is bottoming out a little bit. Kind of more unique structure though, with this awkward consolidation that was really tight range. Oh, we haven't swept that low yet. So XRP's has some relative strength then. A lot of assets have already came down here and swept this. You know, last time we were looking at XRP, it looks like it was around here. Around this time here. We're anticipating us to hit our head off the supply concern. Looks like we came up, we did do that. And this would be a good support level based on previous value area data. We had a little bit of bounce here, but it was a SFP trade, right? Sweeping this low. If you jumped in on this, you'd be targeting this high, but we broke right through it. So that change of character reaction could allow you to hold at least to the supply concern again, and we busted right through it. So congrats to anyone who followed any of that. We'll delete it now though, because it's not really helpful to us anymore. If we zoom out, we have this liquidity from this wick here that could be swept. If we zoom out further, we have another level marked here. We're coming in towards this previous value area high, so very similar to Bitcoin's positioning. XRP is creeping its way closer to a previous macro value area high. This one we are ranging for 222 days, so this is a pretty damn strong area that we need to have hold. Again, a make it or break it moment, because if we get that break of structure inside of this value area, you'd be targeting the big areas of interest in hopes for a full rotation down if you're in a short to the value area low. We have double distribution here, so you have like two big strong key areas you got to watch in the volume shelves, but normally when you get that acceptance, you get that full rotation down. The POC is usually a good spot to expect a bounce back out of it, or the equilibrium point, which is like that 50% level between everything. But yeah. So yeah, XRP is definitely in a zone where you want to prepare for longs. It does feel a little weird though that it hasn't swept these areas where everything else has. So we have that weird, awkward relative strength. We got double bottom neckline here. So if we break that, get acceptance to this value area, you can at least target this value area high and hopes for a continuation up. So if I were to draw pathing on how I anticipate XRP to behave, if you break above here, hit our head off the value area low, acceptance into the value area, and then move to the value area high. Or preferably, I know this sounds weird, but I'd rather it come down and sweep this low first before going up. How's Chainlink doing on that? Being awkward? Being a little awkward. Looks like we're starting to get that push down from that short. And if you're in a short, this is the setup. Stop loss above the wick. I'm going to target at least here. This is almost at 1 to 2.86, but based on fees, you're probably looking at a 1 to 2 because that's such a tight range percentage-wise. Gear asks for render. We can look at render. Last time we looked at render was August 18th. It's a long time ago. What was our last TA on this thing? Short. Here we're looking for a short down here. Preparing for reversals around here. It's been a little while. I'll set this to back for a second. Yeah, so yeah, last time we're looking at this bad boy. We're looking for the continuation. We had this head and shoulders pattern right here that was resting on top of the point of control. We had that pullback, break of structure area that we were watching for shorts. And we're targeting, this is the measurable target was right here. The measurable target is easy to get based on the momentum of the head and shoulders. Click and drag a trend line from the head to the support level. And if that momentum were to be maintained, which it usually is, during the moment of break, you have your target. And this is, I was anticipating for us to like not hit the full target, for us to struggle around here with this 50-day EMA. But we did pretty much almost hit the target, but we slow crawled our way down. But by then, you probably would have been stopped out if you didn't get out from this pump up. So we delete all this noise now. It's not helpful for us anymore. It's all history, right? But we're still inside the value area. We're coming on that same spot that we're preparing for, that we prepared for that reversal. Like, let me just double check to see if this is a 50-day EMA. It's a horizontal line, right? It's a horizontal line. It's not even an EMA. Okay. Just a strong historical key level. Sometimes I'll have these really thick horizontal lines just to warn me that this is an important level to watch. Even if it doesn't seem relevant to the local price action, just watch levels like that. But yeah, so render has a couple of opportunities. We're approaching the value area low. This value area is, how old is this thing? 234 days. So render has been stuck in this for a while now. All these really, really impatient investors hoping for this thing to skyrocket. You want this to occur. You want this consolidation. It allows old investors who are profitable to get out and new investors to get in to stabilize a higher floor for assets. So we can get this sweep, potentially get a reversal. This is the daily time frame, by the way. Or we can come down lower. It's all pretty much up to Bitcoin if we're honest with ourselves here. Sweep here, or we can come down lower and prepare for a reversal structure here. This would be ideal for anyone who wants to try to get in on render at lower prices, like around $3. Because you can jump in around here and get that full rotation up and make about 25%, 40%, geez. Let's zoom in though, because there's a lot more to the story in the lower time frames. This is internal momentum here. And zoom in further, 15-minute. I like this. This is the kind of structure that I would prefer on, like, not Chainlink, but like Dogecoin. XRP's okay. XRP's alright. Sui, I know, is one that I would prefer the structure on. Just because like we taken the low to create a local strong high that can help us with confirmations, right? What asset we were just looking at? Render, right? So we can mark our local valley area if you'd like. From here to here. We have an opportunity internally here. We can get that sweep off the value area low for a potential front run to the break. reversal, but you treat it as if we're not going to get that break, right? Look for the local highs, target the local highs if you get the SFP. If I were wanting to take another SFP trade from the top side of this on render, I would rather take this one here because it would have the value area high confluence rather than taking this one because we might not tap the value area high. And I prefer value area high or value area low confluence. The more deviated we are below, the better. Like 50% maximum, of course, but yeah, sweep here or sweep here for short-term scalps. Or if this thing decides to follow everything else, if you get a close instead of the sweep, look for the pullback, retest higher high, stop loss below the low, entry on the break of structure on the body close above any wick that might occur here. And then we're watching supply along the way. Supply concerns right here. Send it back. Right? Whenever you see impulse move down, structural base of at least 2 candle pullback, another impulse move down, you created a supply concern. They're all over the place, but look local first. And try to measure your risk to that local barrier. And don't set up a long position tool and try to force a 1 to 2. Right? Make sure that the 1 to 2 is available to your barrier concern. In this case, it most likely would be, depending on how this break of structure performs, right? But yeah, those are the 2 scenarios I look for. If you're trying to get a short-term scalp, the SFP in the low, the SFP on this high, not this high, or the break of structure continuation here. If we don't get either of those and we instead keep coming down, then even better for any investors who are trying to get in on render because of the daily value area that we just spoke about. So that's render. I hope that helps you out, man. Going back to Bitcoin, falling down. Chainlink's probably doing well. Oh, it's kind of holding a little bit. Is Ondo at a good accumulation point? Anything below $1 for Ondo is good accumulation, in my opinion. Can you talk about a cascade liquidation event? May not respect key support or just yeah. So like cascading events are, I like to say that they're rare, but they're not. So liquidity can be used as for entries and exits, right? And if we see, even with the liquidities below us, you should always assume that the liquidity below the price actions can be used as buyers liquidity for entry plans and liquidity above the price action for exit plans. But it could be used for both. Like, it doesn't matter. Liquidity is just there so that, think of it as an area where if you are a big investor, this is a good spot for you to prepare for an exit with the least amount of price impact on the asset. So big market makers or institutional investors will exit off of them. And sometimes they will induce a move down to liquidate more people. I think the last one we just had from this drop that we occurred had $22 billion liquidated. And sometimes that causes an event where we have strong continuations after strong continuations to our next high liquidity zones. And it causes that cascade effect that just melt people. And you also got to think about how is this impacting lenders on other platforms too. Because it has this weird, like cascade's a really good word for it because it cascades throughout the entire blockchain and impacts like more than just traders, but also liquidity providers too. And then they want to pull their liquidity because we're no longer arranging. And if they pull their liquidity, it makes it even easier for assets to drop. So it can create some scary events especially for low market cap assets. Okay. Please don't skip Cubic. Of course I won't skip Cubic. I'm actually thinking about accumulating more of this thing. I love Cubic's approach to they adapt. Their adaptability is insane. We just wait for it to load though. While we're waiting for this to unfreeze, because it's sometimes I have so many drawings on my charts that it takes up a lot of virtual memory, and if I don't remember to close some of them down, it gets a little wild. All right, it's loading up now. And once it loads up, I'm going to close about 4 charts. I'll try my best to keep my 3 most favorite setups ready, so you guys can take that information and you can decide what you want to do with it. Cardano is in the list. I believe Bitcoin, Cardano, and I believe I don't think it was. Yeah, Render's local price action is good too. Oh man, my life is buffering right now. Let's see, while we're waiting for this to load, let's see if we can catch up the chat here. Tommy, do you have any tips for the 5-minute 200 EMA and 50-day EMA cross strat? ETH just got it. The 250-day EMA, or 250, the 200 and the 50 EMA, I mostly use them on the daily time frame and have them bleed to be visible on multiple time frames. But on the 5-minute, I don't have any data on how well it'll do in the 5-minute. That might be something that we backtest together. I know you can use the higher time frame EMAs on the 5. Right, yeah, not sure how well it'll do just in the 5 alone. If you had the cross, like EMA crosses are momentum-based strategies, right? They're taking collective data from the previous 200 and the previous 50 candles to generate the line that you're getting. So when they cross, it's like a notification of a shift of momentum. So I would never ever suggest people using EMAs alone a part of their strategy unless it's macro, like the daily. So if you're going to be doing crosses, maybe try doing crosses after hitting an order block, or looking for a 200 and a 50 EMA cross after visiting a value area low. If you're looking for longs, I mean. And the short side would be like value area high or bearish order block retest. I'm just spitting stuff out. This is something you're going to have to backtest. But if I were looking for a momentum-based strategy, I would want it to be after confirming a recent high and getting that breakage structure for a potential trend-bound move. Or since you're using the 5-minute time frame, you might have time to do an entry at a value area low on a range that has been ranging for about 7 days or more. Because you're going to need an established range that has a decent gap too between the high and the lows. All right, so I'm on Cubic. I am going to be shutting down some of my charts here so we can do this uninterrupted. So I want to close my Ethereum chart. I'll close my XRP chart because I don't like that structure either. I wouldn't touch that. Right now, Cubic is like kind of sweeping these highs. Kyle, can you check AR? I've entered on it yesterday. Low, which was the value low of the range. Cool. Okay. Look at that too. Oh my gosh, so slow. Sorry guys, this is rough. It looks like I opened a cubic chart 3 times. But yeah, based on what we can see on the chart, we broke into the value area on the 15-minute, made a low time frame retest and higher high. We came up to the previous macro point of control. We've always struggled at this macro point of control, constantly consolidate against it. But also the previous price action behaved this way too, not just like what we're seeing locally right here. Historically, we've struggled against this price point like constantly. I'm wondering what caused that, but between the macro value area low and the macro point of control there, the gap is really, really small. But between the macro point of control and the macro value area high, it's a huge gap. So we tend to have these big moves to it, and then we have the big moves back. But this is a good spot to prepare for accumulation on cubic if you're a holder of cubic or someone who wants to be a holder of cubic. Okay, well, this is kind of rough. While we're waiting for this thing to load, do you guys have any questions on like trading stuff? This is rough. Yeah, I might continue this in the Discord. I need to see what I can do to improve my computer so this doesn't happen. Because this is like the 3rd time that something like this has happened during a live. Master asked about how many courses we have. I think 16 or 12. But they're the big course. So they all come in part of your membership. Like you don't have to pay extra for the courses. Looks like it's starting to come back to us. But yeah, the big course that a lot of people take is the Trader's Blueprint course. It's like a 30-day course, so each day you're assigned lessons and a practice plan. And by the 30th day, you would have learned about 5 trading strategies and proper risk management, mindset, all that stuff. How many strategies do you use in general throughout your trading week? 3. The clairvoyant strategy that we built with the valley areas, a break of momentum, change of character, acceptance of the valley area, target the opposite side of the valley area. I don't know if you can consider this a separate strategy altogether, but I prefer trading SFPs over anything now. Over the past year, I've been trading a lot of SFPs. They're tough to signal, but they're super easy to trade, and they come with really good R&R. And then there's the Fibonacci retracement entries. But my confluences are all very, very similar between the strategies I trade. Like Fibonacci retracements, I use a 3-minute time frame. I'll have my biases based on the 15-minute and the hourly, and like whatever's local that could induce a shift in that bias too, like an order block or valley area data. All right. Man, this is terrible. Okay. Let's see if we can close this down. Maybe I can just do Just control delete this thing and start over. Good morning, Julie. What's up? Check your DM about Bitcoin question. Only can we look at WFLI? Yes, I just got some technical difficulties. I accidentally used up all my virtual memory on computer, and I'm trying to close down the tabs that are causing everything to lag here. There's just 3 tabs I need to close, and I'm trying to close one right now, and it's just taking its sweet time. Gear saying render is possible. 4 minutes left on the 15-minute candle. Nice. So you get the breakout. I don't normally recommend jumping on the breakout unless like it's a Wyckoff model. You can use the measurable target to find out where your target is. Look for supply, and then make sure you use the right shoulder's low, strong low, as your stop loss in a scenario like that. But render right now is consolidating, right? We had that horizontal level of resistance, so you got to make sure that when you get the breakout, a 2-candle pullback and then a higher high, so that you can use that pullback as a stop loss guard. And because what will happen is, if your stop loss guard got hit, and you give it some breathing room so there's no chance of an SFP of that low, then you'd have acceptance back inside the range with a bearish change of character, and that would turn your long invalidation to a short trade into that range. So you want to kind of have your stop loss in a lot of scenarios where you would think about shorting if broken, right? Like a complete invalidation. You try to control it, delete. I haven't, but if I do, sometimes it messes with the stream. So I'll try it right now. Okay. All right, I press Control Delete. Now we must wait 1 decade in crypto time. And stuff like this happens while you're trading. This is why you set your stop losses immediately, guys, because this could happen to you while you're trading. Your internet could give out. You could have a flash crash. Okay. I'm gonna have to head out, guys. It's not working out. Or maybe just listen to me. And so what I'll do is I'll jump in on a live on the Discord. We can look at some assets. I'm sorry for anyone who's like watching from within there. It's on a live again. But yeah, next Friday, guys, we'll be doing our giveaways. So I'm super stoked about that. So yeah. So next Friday, just prepare for that. You just need to attend the lives. We'll have a word of the day. Everyone will comment that word. You get a ballot entry just by doing that word entry, like that. So you can win. You get a chance to win a $6,000 account, like funded account, a chance for a one-on-one coaching, and a chance for some karma tokens. Oh yeah, we've got Task Manager open here now. Before I go, I just want to try one more time. Let's see. Yeah, it's not really working. All right, sorry guys. Go fund me for Kyle. RAM on the computer. Yeah, like dude, I got a really decked out computer. So like the fact that this is happening, it just baffles me. There might be something else going on. All right, guys, I'm super sorry about this. It's a big bummer. But yeah, going forward, I'll try to make sure that this doesn't happen again. You guys have an amazing day. No more chat requests, guys. Computer might explode. Yeah. You guys have a great day. I'll see you in the next one. I go live again on Monday. And yeah, I'll see you Monday at 11 a.m. We'll do some TA requests then. Hopefully we'll have a trade set up for you guys in the community. I'll give you guys a signal if we get a safe setup. We'll dive into it together. All right, see you guys. Bye. Have a great weekend.